Well, the other day, Goosey hatched some goslings, 7 of them. The other goose had gone broody a week later, and as expected, abandoned her nest to act as anti-goose and protector of the goslings. So I needed to get her eggs in the incubator pretty sharpish. So I went in the incubator room and I turned on this Brinsea Octagon Echo, which is an excellent little incubator, and I was astonished to find that it didn't work. It was working last year when we last used it, so a quick repair was necessary, which is why it's in the workshop. Now these are excellent incubators, they're really good, but they're not much good as hatchers. The birds hatch in them just fine, but all the hatching fluff ends up in this upper chamber and is impossible to clean out without dismantling the incubator, which is a fairly complex process. So I hatch my eggs in a different machine. So I've taken the inside cover off, which was held on with a dozen screws. I've had this off before, and if you've got any sense you'll do what I did, replace the original screws with stainless steel ones, because they do rust away and they're difficult to get out. So we'll lift the cover off, lift the fans off, they just fasten on with little plugs, and beware, they go that way up, so they are blowing rather than sucking. When I bought this incubator I thought it was useless because the temperature fluctuated so much. Then I turned the fans over and it was perfect. So it seems that somebody before me had had it apart and reassembled it incorrectly. Now initially I was baffled because both the elements were reading correctly, giving us about 340 ohms each, so they were good. I was getting 240 volts into it, and then I noticed just under there a sneaky little component which I think is a thermal link, and indeed there it is, a 76-degree thermal link. I know what it is because I've soldered thousands of those in over the years. There we are, I found one, not exactly the same, but and it's a higher value, but he'll be just fine for this job. Now these are the thermal protection fuses, and I do find them to be fairly unreliable components. I do know that this incubator has never been up at 76 degrees centigrade, so why the component should fail, God only knows. And if you don't have one, what happens is power comes in there through the block, through the thermal link to there, which then goes around the elements and back out here. So if you don't have a thermal link and it's an emergency, and it always is, if you put the power in there instead, it will bypass the thermal link. But there's a warning here, there is then no thermal protection, so you could risk having a fire. So keep your eye on the thing and get the spare part as soon as possible.